We're going to start today with a story that is near and dear to my heart. That is this teacher shortage that we're seeing just as we are getting ready to send kids back to school here very shortly. I come from kind of a family of educators. My grandma was a teacher, my mom was a teacher. I've lost both of them in just the last year or so. But I have a tremendous respect for teachers, seeing the impact that those two are able to have on their students. I think it's one of the most important professions out there. It's very literally our future what children, how we're raising children, how we're educating children and informing children, and what society we have in the future will be on the backs of them. So I have a tremendous respect for teachers. I think they are often not just compensated, but sort of mistreated in general in terms of how we view them, how we talk about them, and that is a part of this shortage as well. So I want to show you guys an article here that is getting into some of these details. This is in The Week. America's crushing teacher shortage. The beginning of the school year is quickly approaching, but thousands of teaching positions remain unfilled. It's by Catherine Garcia. As kids start heading back to school, districts across the United States are dealing with teacher shortages. In some areas, there are thousands of unfilled positions, and administrators are trying to come up with ways to lessen the impact on students. Here's everything you need to know. Why is there a teacher shortage? There are several factors. Many educators are worn out from having to teach online during the pandemic, and some decided to retire or leave the profession after switching back to in-person instruction. In June 2021, more than 2,700 teachers were surveyed by the National Education Association, and 32% said they were leaving teaching earlier than planned because of the pandemic. Others are quitting for higher paying jobs or because they feel undervalued and don't want to be part of the culture war with parents and politicians trying to censor what they can teach about everything from U.S. history to racism. Quote, the political situation in the United States combined with legitimate after effects of COVID has created this shortage. Randy Weingarten, president of the American Federation of Teachers, told the Washington Post, quote, this shortage is contrived. How many unfilled teaching jobs are there? There isn't a database keeping track, so it's not entirely known. The Arizona School Personnel Administrators Association surveyed its members, and 2/3 said they have more teacher vacancies for this school year than ever before. As of June, the state had 2,200 unfilled teacher openings, and that's very concerning. Justin Wing of the Arizona School Personnel Administrators Association told Fox 10, quote, we can't leave kids alone in the classroom teaching themselves. The national average for teacher pay is around $64,000 in Arizona, which has one of the highest teacher-to-student ratios, has an average teacher salary of roughly $52,000. When Arizona teachers recently received a raise, quote, we went from 49th in teacher pay to 49th in teacher pay, Wing said. I do think the main root cause of the teacher shortage is pay. So there are a number of factors here. You guys were asking teachers to do a whole hell of a lot in the middle of a pandemic, and we're basically choosing to pretend that's not happening anymore. And now we have monkeypox on the rise as well. And we're asking teachers to make sacrifices in those ways. Remember that kids are the last group that's eligible for vaccines too. So teachers are being forced to expose, especially those who teach younger kids, are being asked to expose themselves to those who cannot be vaccinated. So every sort of factor that could help to mitigate the chance of spread is less effective in a school, and teachers are being asked to expose themselves to that. So that's obviously going to lead to some of this shortage. And then you also have, I think, all this political stuff. I don't think that can be overstated either, you guys. I mean, my God, like some states are banning the use of pronouns. How is a teacher supposed to teach? You know, I saw a tweet the other day. I won't get it exactly right, but it was like a teacher trying to avoid pronouns. All right, class, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Teacher want you. Oh fuck. Like you can't even talk without using pronouns. Like it's So how are teachers supposed to navigate this and still do an effective job of teaching the curriculum, and doing right by the kids in their classroom, right? I think that's a big part of it. And also, of course, you guys, as is always a major part of it, wages, workplace treatment, benefits, compensation, anything of the sort. I actually remember when I was, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 or something years old, there was a big strike in the school district that my mom worked for. And I remember me and my sister going down and standing on the picket lines with her, and the news was there. And I mean, it went on for weeks, and the teachers ended up getting a decent raise out of it. And, teachers are taken advantage of and exploited and mistreated. How many places in the country do teachers have to buy their own supplies for work? I mean, can you imagine, whatever your job is, can you imagine going into work and not having what you fucking need to work, and then your employer's like, oh, yeah, no, you have to buy that? I mean, it's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's a condemnation of our society that our priorities are as they are. Budgets express priorities, and the fact that we refuse to fund education to anything close to an acceptable level is an indictment on us and our priorities. So I think all of these factors are at play. I think teachers are sick of being undercompensated and abused and exploited. I think teachers are sick of the political environment that they're having to deal with at this point. And I think, and parents, by the way, too, can be annoying as all fucking hell. I can't even imagine in today's day and age. You know what I mean? With all the the demonization of the LGBTQ community and parents, wigging out about that. And I mean, it's there is so much that a teacher has to juggle. And I think that that's leading to this shortage. And all of this comes, of course, at a terrible time coming right out of COVID. So, this is one of the unfortunate side effects of not robustly funding and putting resources towards our education. And some of those resources very much could have been and should have been used to mitigate the spread of COVID and monkeypox and keep teachers safe, to enhance the online learning experience of kids, etc. And yet, schools already don't have enough resources or anything close in many areas to enough resources to do an effective job, let alone when you throw a pandemic into things and throw a wrench into all of the ways that these schools operate. So we need to pay teachers better. We need to put more resources into education so that they can do their jobs more effectively, and so that they can literally just have less kids to manage, right? The teacher to student ratio needs to improve. There are so many things that we could improve about our education system if we were simply willing to put the resources towards it. And I think that would also help to alleviate some of the pressures that teachers are feeling right now, and some of the reasons that they're feeling forced out of the profession, or like they no longer want to be a part of the profession. So, like anything, you have to plan ahead for this stuff. You have to educate enough teachers to fill, to fix that teacher-student ratio. You have to, build up the institutions that are running your schools, and et cetera, right? You have to actually build the schools and build nice schools with enough space and with enough, materials necessary for the kids to have a positive experience. But all of that could have been done by simply, putting those resources towards our education system. And we have not only failed students miserably, we have failed teachers miserably as well. So this is a very, very concerning trend that we're seeing going into the school year, that this many teachers, they said, 2,000 some odd in Arizona alone. If you have thousands of vacant teacher positions in every state, that's going to be really, really problematic. And especially while you're dealing still with the pandemic. What happens, you guys, when teachers have to miss class because they get fucking COVID or monkeypox, or just have to miss class for any of a myriad of other reasons that are completely reasonable, right? What are we going to do? It's a sad tale that we have refused to put funding towards social programs like education. So I stand in full solidarity with teachers. I encourage my audience to do the same. And I hope that we can improve the way that we handle our education system in ways that will encourage teachers to get back in the classroom and desire being teachers again, right? And want to be in this profession instead of feeling forced to put up with such horrendous conditions as they currently are.